So no, I'm not against house and land, but I'm against the mugs house and land, because that's the typical stuff that you sold. That typical blah stuff is what you sold. And you've got to be a little bit smarter than the average bear. And for any of that stuff, if you were doing that stuff in the ponds, build a dual-lock. You know, the demand for rental there is high. I'm not saying that particular one, but, you know, in similar areas, the demand for rental is high. Can you afford to hold it? It's a neutral hold. Would you get your money back on that? Say our vals were 800. That's the middle of those two houses there. You know, and they're both 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, double lock-up garages. They're both the same size house on the same size land. Why did one sell for $838 and the other one sold for $740? And the difference between them is 2 months. A market didn't rise that much in 2 months. What would it have been? All that stuff. All of it. So you've got to really, if you're going to play in this game, and you know, I'm harping on this, and I'm only talking about a single family house, because exactly the same thing applies if it was a duplex, a triplex, a 4-plex, an 8-plex, a 6-plex, or whatever, 12-plex. It's the exact same process. So I want to start you here so you get it, because when you start doing a block of 6 or a block of 8, your mistakes are magnified and your profits are as well. So learn it here, get it right in your head, so that when you go do something bigger, you know, they're going to be magnifying your profits, not magnifying your losses.
Can I just say on the price there, I'm in the light, the price on that one in Sydney, in New South Wales, for example, these properties that have inbuilt granny flats or granny flats out the back, they sell for more, but there's not many sales because people building granny flats aren't selling. Why would you sell when you get cash flow, right? So if you incorporate a dual lock style inside your 4-bedroom home, so essentially got 3 bedrooms and a media room that's self-contained, you may not, in some states, you may not be able to rent it, but your market is so much bigger because you've got, you know, the family with the teenager that will stick it in there, the family with the grandparents. You've got single people that will team up and move into that and rent part of it each. You know, what we're talking about, Dimpner's talking about, is actually making and putting together a property that is different to what every other standard developer does.
So let's work it out, guys. Let's say we bought it for, we'll go in the middle, 600. 580, we'll say. We bought it for 580 in the middle there somewhere. We built a dual occupancy and we can rent it for 850. Are we positive, we negative? We're going to be real close. Let's say we now refinance at 800. Do we get our money back? In fact, let's work this out properly. Write down those things. We're going to buy it for 580. We're going to rent it for, well, our total cost is 580. We're going to rent it for 850 because it's a dual occupancy. And it's going to reval at 800. On your tables, take 2 minutes and work out whether you get your money back or not. Do you get your money back to go off and reinvest? Is it roughly, it'll be roughly neutral, so let's call it neutral, so we can afford to hold it. Do we get our money back? And if we get our money back, how much, or if we don't, how much of it do we get back? 2 minutes on the table. Who had trouble doing that? Okay. Where are you going? Let's have a look at it. How much money, if you're going into this project at 580, how much are you going to need to go into the project? 116 at an 80% LVR. Is that right? Has everybody got me on that? Who doesn't understand? Okay.
There's been a cost miss there, though.
Stamp duties.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's have a look at it. Let's have your figures here. So at an 80% LVR, we've got 116 going in. Roughly, your stamp duties and costs are going to be roughly 6%. So call it 34. So we've got 150 it would cost us out of equity out of another property, or cash in the bank, or sell some of those shares that are not performing for you. And put it into the property. We've got 150 in the deal. Everybody with me? All right.
The loan at that stage at 80% will be 464. And at that stage there, renting it at 850, it will be passive. I've just quickly worked it out. A passive about 1250 a year.
1200.
1200 a year,
Yep.
plus, and that includes four weeks of vacancies. So it'll be, probably
Couple
$4 or
of
$5 grand, right? If you have tenancy for the whole year. So then you go in and you revalue the property at 800.
Yep. So we reval at 800. Now, what I've done there is, because in that time frame, it was a 2-year time frame that I had on the slides, and so what I've done is I've picked the middle point from a cost perspective, and then I'm giving you a year to build it. So by the end of the year, when you've got it built, this would be the value, and then I picked the middle again. So I didn't go high, I didn't go low, so it's just at the middle of the market. So during that construction period, if it took a year as an example, which was the year to build it, we'd be buying it at the 580, which was roughly the middle, and we'd be selling at the 800, or a value at the 800. 80% of that is?
640, and your original loan is 464.
So we pay that out.
So the difference between those two is 176. So essentially, the 150 you've put in, you've got back plus another $26,000.
So after a year, you've got $16,000 more in your pocket to go investing with. You've got all your money back plus 16, and you've got a neutral, slightly positively geared property. Because we use the elements that I've been talking to you about all the way down the line.
And I've got now to the stage where I've retired on what I've done in real estate. So it's only because of real estate now I never have to work the rest of my life, and I'm not rich yet, but rich enough to retire, and I want to get richer. And I can only do that through real estate and having a mentor that has a broader knowledge that Dymphna does have.